His opponent is the man who could become the first three-time titleist of the year, Pete Weber of Florissant, Missouri. The winner will face the third-seeded player from Lake Worth, Florida, seeking his first singles title, Joe Firpo. In our semifinal game will be the seven-time PBA champion from Milwaukee, Oregon, Dave Husted. And our tournament leader won his only title in Cleveland 8 years ago, Norm Duke of Albuquerque. And that's our outstanding field of finalists for this afternoon's Professional Bowlers Tour telecast. The Professional Bowlers Tour has returned to the shores of Lake Erie, to the Cleveland, Ohio area for the finals of the $160,000 Bud Light Open. Downtown Cleveland is enjoying a wonderful renaissance with the restoration of the old and the building of the new. Hello again, I'm Chris Schenkel, standing at the very entrance to a landmark, the 52-story Terminal Tower. When she was completed in 1930, she was a true marvel, and now with total restoration here in the 90s is a giant. Let me take you inside and show you what I mean. High above the lobby is the arched Roman-style plastered ceiling, totally restored. Imagine the number of artisan hours it took to complete the task. Beautifully done. Now, let me show you another example of an ambitious project, the Tower City Center. This was once a railroad station, and now as part of a $400 million renewal, is a spacious haven to 100 specialty shops, restaurants, theaters, and yes, even a ritzy hotel. If you haven't been to Cleveland for a while, come back. You'll like what you see. You'll like what you see at Yorktown Lanes. Ready for the finals. Let's go to my colleague, Nelson Burton Jr. Bo?
Thank you, Chris. This is the comeback city, delightful Cleveland. We're here for the 18th time. The weather's in the mid-60s today. The Bud Light Open, Yorktown Lanes for the first time, a capacity crowd. We're only moments away from the very first match. A tremendous field today. 2 U.S. Open champions in the final 5. But the real story is the man in the number 1 position. He's been hot all winter, and this week he led the field by almost 500 pins. That's almost unheard of on the PBA Tour. Norm Duke, how did you do it?
Bo, it's just one of those things. You get in a groove and you just start throwing it good. And I've been fortunate to be best friends with Brian Voss, and I've watched him lead tournaments so many times. And when you watch it, some of it has to rub off on you.
Well, Brian wins those tournaments from the number 1 spot. How about you today?
I win tournaments from the number 1 spot.
Okay, he's very confident. Good luck in the championship match. Now let's look at how they're playing the championship pair. The oil is very heavy this week, down 45 feet down the lanes. The PBA has put it down the center, and then they've pushed it out to the side. And this is the difference between amateur conditions and pro conditions. This makes it much more difficult, and shot making is important. The last 15 feet are a little bit dry, so the ball can get a little hook. Now the players are playing 3 different lines. The straight players are playing around the first arrow. The big power players are swinging a big shot out almost to the edge. And the lefties are playing down the outside line. Scott Devers. Chris, it's an excellent shot out there. Great 90 minutes ahead of us. And of course, Wide World of Sports follows.
That's right, a grand finale of the Jeep Superstars from Cancun, Mexico. Listen to these superstars in the top 10 going for first prize. Herschel Walker, Barry Sanders, and Kelly Gruber are among those 10. Plus a special preview of the World League of American Football. That's all coming up next on ABC's Wide World of Sports. Out of the $160,000 total, 30 today will go to the winner, 16 to the runner-up, 8, 65, and 55. Our 11th stop in a winter tour of 16 cities. We're in a suburb of Cleveland, Parma Heights. From Florissant, Missouri, shaking the hand, Pete Weber. Shaking it of Scott Devers from Richmond, Indiana. He will shoot first. Scott has 4 titles in his 9 years as a professional. He is 5'11", 145 pounds, getting re-racks all the way down. And deep breath by Scott.
Chris, they're playing 2 different lines. Scott Devers, the extreme outside on the left, and Pete Weber almost down the center in the heavy concentration of oil. Lefty with a straight shot, power player with the hook ball.
All right, Scott Devers shooting one of the perfect 300 games this week, along with Pete Weber, Bruce Hamilton, and Ryan Schaefer. Speaking of Pete Weber, there he is. His 58th television appearance. It is his third championship round of the year. Second in a matter of 3 weeks. Of course, he has 2 titles, back-to-back, Fair Lanes, and then the Johnny Petraglia. He has a little trouble with something foreign in his eye. All right, there he is. Watch his concentration. Watch the arm swing, too. May come a warning here because of time, Bo?
Well, a 25-second rule. He had 25 seconds with which to get the shot away after Scott Devers had finished his frame. As you see Weber up there, the strike ball leaves a solid 9, quickly up for the spare.
Well, if you get a foreign object in your eye, shouldn't you be able to call timeout?
I would think so, Chris. That's the PBA's call, and they have to give the player 25 seconds, and obviously they didn't think about it. That'll be something to be considered in the next PBA tournament committee, which is held before a meeting which is held before every tournament by the players. So Weber up in the second frame. He does have a warning.
Oh, he comes right back. Very little bothers him. Once he has his concentration set and the determination, he is a great champion. Winner of 17, Scott Devers now, here in Parma Heights, Ohio. So smooth, yet left to 2-4.
Scott Devers has really worked on his game lately as he's worked on his push away and his arm swing. He always comes a little bit wide, but watch how he tucks it inside the right leg. Has a pretty good turn on that ball, and that right-hand lane just has to be hooking a little bit more for him than the left-hand lane, because that looked identical to the shot he had in the first frame, which struck.
Scott's best finish this year was 38th at the Bud Light in Sunrise, Florida. 4 titles coming in Tucson, Rochester, New York, El Paso, and Austin.
Devers playing the extreme outside line. You'll see his position on the approach almost in the center. Then he'll walk just about straight to the line and throw that ball over the first arrow on the left-hand side of the lane.
So for Scott Devers, the second strike in 3 frames. We're in Parma Heights, Ohio, the Bud Light Open. The defending champion, Jim Pinsack, hometown product, finished 20th. Jim will be defending the national championship next week in Toledo. Del Ballard, who won last week, 74th. 2 and sleeper 8.
Tough spare to shoot, heavy oil in the center of the lane. And a characteristic you can always count on the PBA Tour is if the lane is a little bit drier for the left-handed player, as it is for Devers, it'll be tighter for the right-handed player, Pete Weber. So that reaction has held up through 2 frames.
And a smile. All right. For all you aspiring young bowlers, Pete Weber has this advice. Listen.
Well, traveling around the country like I do and bowling as many junior pro-ams as I do, I see the young bowlers bowling the power game, but they don't have that good of a spare game. They miss a lot of spares, so the best advice I could give is make your spares.
Which Pete has done twice, and now he'll have to try to cover the 2-pin on the left lane. A little disgust now showing on that face.
Well, Pete has bowled well all week, obviously, in making the top 5, but bowled much better when the lanes were drier at night. So if he can get by the first game, he should be very tough.
Okay, good comment. We're in our first game, 1 pin separating Scott Devers and Pete Weber. Devers in the lead.
Natural ingredients, then brewed and aged with extra care. For that clean, crisp, cold taste. The taste only Budweiser can deliver. The king of beers.
Nothing beats a Bud. Living, no better way to face the day.
The morning belongs to Skin Bracer Aftershave. Its cool, brisk tingle really gets you going. And what a great scent. Skin Bracer.
No better way to face the day. Find it.
I used to have dandruff, so I tried Head and Shoulders. Then I tried Selsun Blue. Blue is better.
Selsun Blue relieves dandruff flaking better than Head and Shoulders. And doctors recommend it more than Head and Shoulders, Denorex, and Tegrin.
Blue is better.
Selsun Blue.
George 117 in pursuit of request additional backup. Do you copy?
117.
Sam 216, we copy. Approaching 69 on the block. Let's get a roadblock.
More police cars throughout America come on Goodyear Eagle radials than any other brand of tires. Why? Because they want it that way.
Attention all units.
Goodyear Eagles. The authorities know, and it's why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
You're looking at a capacity crowd here at Yorktown Lanes in Parma Heights, Ohio for the Bud Light Finals. Scott Devers, seated fifth, finishing in that spot out of a field of 160, has a 1-pin lead, can increase it to 11. Fourth frame, strike up.
Wow, the solid 9. Devers just throws a great shot trying to jump on top of Weber by 11 pins and gets one of the very few taps, true taps in the sport of bowling. As you see, is low angle. Watch how he bends down with that right leg. Good, solid, high follow through. His best shot of the match, unfortunately, the 9-pin. He'll lead by 1 through 4.
Scott Devers was on our telecast 6 times last year. And in the summer tour, he had 3 in a row.
When he gets hot, he's such an accurate player, Chris. In the Budweiser TPC tournament, 56 games last year, he only missed 3 spares in 56 games. Now, you have to consider that he's bowling for 7 days and changing pairs of lanes every game. That's tremendous, and that's the kind of spare shooting that Weber was talking about on his little tip to the juniors, and obviously Scott Devers follows that. Fifth frame.
He gets them all. Scott Devers, 29-year-old, and now Pete Weber with 17 titles and still only 28. Spare up, fifth frame, Weber. Reaction now from the crowd. A little later, Duke, they'll be cheering in the stands, and there they were giving Pete a little encouragement as Joe Firpo continues to stay loose on the practice lanes.
Firpo will play the winner of this match. Firpo, an interesting young man, a player that I had met while he was still a junior bowler down in Florida. Now he's a mature player out here on the tour, looking to meet one of these great champions. Weber using the complete 17 feet of the approach, 6th frame.
Hoping for that strike would have given him a 9-pin lead. Now he'll have to cover the 3-6-10.
There's about 3 things that can affect a player being off, and you can see Weber with one of them here. He's playing the proper line. He hits his target, but he throws the ball a little bit too slow on this particular shot. It breaks too much, goes high, and leaves the 3-6-10. You have to have the direction correct on every shot, the amount of turn on the ball, and of course the speed. Weber for the spare.
Pete Weber is number 1 in a couple of categories on the PBA Tour. He will become the leading money winner today, passing David Ozio wherever he finishes. Number 1 in match plays at 8. Number 1 in cashes with 10. Here's Scott Devers. Strike up, 6th frame. Okay. Following a successful 1990 season, he developed a physical problems. He told us what he did to turn things around.
Well, I was struggling a little bit with my arm swing and my ball speed from January and February, so I took the last couple of weeks off, worked on that, worked on this ball speed, and tried to prepare real good for the upcoming majors, and hopefully I'm ready.
Chris, interestingly enough, in his home, he has a bowling lane in his basement, and so he doesn't have to go to the local center to practice. He does it right at home. Good idea.
Of course, it could be like you, have your own bowling establishment at one time, right?
Well, that's not so bad, but when you go into your own establishment, you don't get to practice, you just work.
You're counting the cash, right? Scott Deaver's mom has come in, Martha Kirtley, and his brother Chuck is here.
And Wilma's hoping that Scott can pick up on this difficult 6-9 spare. Got to watch you don't chop the 6 off the 9.
So, Mrs. Kirtley watched with you, saw her son mark with a spare and retain a 9-pin lead. We'll be back.
So, how's it looking there? Really, sorry to hear that. I'm into, but I just have been very busy. I've been brushing, but just not with the Tartar Control Crest.
Tartar Control Crest helps stop tartar where it starts. It penetrates plaque before it hardens for easier cleanings, and more dentists recommend it.
That was easy. You know, I've been using a Tartar Control Crest.
The dentist's choice is the easy choice.
Ever hear this stuff?
I'm visiting my in-laws. I smoke. They don't. No bother. I've got Wrigley Spearmint Gum. That cool, clean taste is most inviting. When I can't smoke, I enjoy pure chewing satisfaction.
Only one antiperspirant in the world helps keep you so dry with the cool, clean scent of Old Spice. Only one deodorant in the world has so many odor-fighting ingredients with the cool, clean scent of Old Spice. There's only one Old Spice.
An elite field remains for the final test of speed, strength, and skill. It's the conclusion of the Jeep Superstars next on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Part of the 40-lane Yorktown Lanes in Parma Heights, Ohio. We're nearing the end of our very first match between Pete Weber, one of the 3 Triple Crown champions. 2 wins already this year, but he's trailing here in this match, shooting in the 7th frame, spare up, trailing by 9. The high hit leaves him with a 3-6-10. Seeded number 4. He's won titles just from about every position. His favorite, though, has been the top seed. He's won 5 times there. But he's had a great year. He was 5th at the Bud Light in Sunrise. He won at Fairlanes, and then the Johnny Petraglia in New Jersey. Comes up just in time to mark with a spare, and here's Bo.
Thank you, Chris. Joe Firpo. Some players don't like to bowl against left-handed players or power players. What's your druthers? Would you rather bowl against Devers or Weber?
It doesn't really make any difference to me. If I make good shots, I'll win.
They both look like they're struggling a little bit. What kind of scores do you think you'll shoot?
I really don't know. I'm just going to do my best.
All right. Joe Firpo in the next match.
He gets another high hit, and again, a 3-6-10. And it's getting late. That was an 8th frame shot by the right-hander from Florissant, Missouri. From Columbus, Ohio, Pete's fiancée, Kim Schulteis. Lovely lady. That's one way to do it. So now Scott Devers is back up. Scott loves Budweiser sponsored events. He has cashed in 15 consecutive. So I'm sure Mike Rorty, Executive Vice President of Anheuser-Busch, thinks that's all right. That's consistency, Mike. Scott? Frame strike, Scott Devers.
Devers, who really got a really bad break in the 4th frame where he left a solid 8-pin. He could have had a big lead at that time. Gets a great break here in the 8th frame as his ball crosses over. 2-pin goes to the sideboard, trips out the 4 and 7 pins. Instead of getting a split, He ends up with a strike, and now coming up into the 9th frame, he can put Weber on the ropes if he can strike and take a 25-pin lead.
Free-flowing swing, and the result, giving him a double.
Well, for Pete Weber right now, he can bowl a 2-13 game. He needs all strikes in the last 4 shots. Devers going at a 2-18 pace. Weber has to strike.
So often, all you great champions come up with those must shots.
Well, the key to the PBA Tour is 2 things, Chris. Obviously, ability. Then you have to be a long runner, the endurance player, to bowl the 42 or 56 games to get to the top 5. Then you have to be a sprinter here on Saturday afternoon. So if you don't have all those abilities, you're in trouble. And right now, Weber absolutely must strike on this shot to have a chance of winning the game.
And he does. Young man that's won $77,615. David Ozio, $77,955.
Pete has given himself a chance now. He looks a little disconsolate, but the game is far from over. If he throws another strike here, he'll make Devers get a good count and mark in the 10th frame.
Stringing 3. Lost a little wind out of his sails. Probably early, that didn't help the warning.
Well, he struggled there in the middle frames. The scoreboard tells a story. The 6th, 7th, and 8th frames, Weber was high and struggled, but he's come back here in the 9th and 10th frame to still have a chance. As a praying fiance, Kim Schulteis knows that Pete needs a little luck from, or bad luck by Devers to win this game.
Strings 4. He did what he had to do, and of course you remember when he won against Del Ballard what happened, so we're not saying that to wish Scott any bad luck.
For Scott Devers, he must fill 16 in the 10th frame. A strike on the first ball locks it up. He needs a spare and a good count to go on against Joe Firpo. All right, he almost strikes as he comes in light and throws the 5 over in towards the 10. But for Devers, he must convert this spare and get 7 pins. And Chris, that's the same situation that Ballard had when he was playing that extreme outside line through the gutter ball to let Weber win. Let's see what happens.
To get the spare.
Now for Ballard, we saw him swinging wide, flirting with the gutter when he threw it in the gutter. Scott Devers playing a much different shot. He needs 7 pins also to win, but he's pointing the ball up towards the 1-2 pocket. He has to just stay in the same place, pretend that he's going for a strike, and don't change a thing. 7 to win. 6 is tie, 5's a loser.
Scott Devers defeats Pete Weber. Pete with a 2-13, Devers with a 2-17. 4 pins, and Devers now will go ahead to meet Joe Firpo. And now a word from our ABC station.
They all laugh at Christopher Columbus when he said the world was round.
Did you see this? What? Ford says they got a big car that's got even more room. So? But handles more like a sports sedan.
I'm sure it does.
They all laughed when Edison recorded sound.
Get this. They said they made this V8 for it. Yeah. That's got more power, get better gas mileage.
Yeah, right.
That's what it says here.
They all laughed at Wilbur and his brother when they said that man could fly.
So, when is this miracle car coming out? 1999?
try today.
Ho, ho, ho. Who's got the last laugh now?
Introducing the new Ford Crown Victoria.
That's nice.
Have you driven a Ford lately?
Sunday, the courage, the beauty, the drama. Sunday at 7, 6 Central, the 10 Commandments.
Murray's, York's famous brand menswear discounter, now offers its entire stock at 30 to 50% off prices elsewhere. $195 Stuart Davis wool blend spring suits, half price, $97.50. $150 pure wool sport coats, half price, $75. $17 pure silk designer ties, only $8.50. Suits, coats, slacks, shirts, ties, everything goes at 30 to 50% off. Murray's, York's famous brand menswear discounter, Roosevelt Avenue off Route 30.
Life without choices is like a jukebox with one song. But more choices are always at your fingertips in the Bella, Pennsylvania Yellow Pages. It's got more choices, a lot more, than any other Yellow Pages. No wonder so many of us, 9 out of 10 of us, use it. When it comes to choices, the more the merrier. The genuine Bella, Pennsylvania Yellow Pages. No other book and map. A Bell Atlantic company.
WHTM TV 27, Harrisburg.
The Pro Bowlers Tour. Brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers, with that clean, crisp, cold taste. Nothing beats a Bud. By Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by Power Stick Antiperspirant, the power that puts you in control.
In the first match just completed, Scott Devers with 7 strikes defeated Pete Weber, 217 to 213. Pete with $5,500 in the money lead. And now it is Devers going against Firpo as we look at Charlie Hodges on the left and Jerry Mullane of Columbus, Ohio, 2 executives with Budweiser, and what a job they do in all sports. But of course, we're so appreciative of what they do for bowling.
Very sorry, Tris. And Jerry reading the tour program available at all the bowling sites. Now Deaver, 1 match, 1 win under his belt, first shot.
Oh, he has 8 strikes today. Richmond, Indiana's gift to bowling. Richmond being the home of Earlham College, Quaker institution, home of Singing Sam the Barbasol Man, the beginning of the record industry. Tintype.
Here's a young player who's made a lot of changes in his game. He's coming into his own. A lot of power, but it's under control.
Well, Joe Firpo, Lake Worth, Florida, 26 years old.
I really like his game. He holds the ball low like Holman, has a really good arm swing, shoulder high. Look at that wrist position, great pivot step, and tremendous follow through. I don't think Joe really realizes yet how good he can be. He needs a little more self-confidence. A win today would go a long way towards that, and he can be one of the top stars for a long time on the tour. Second frame.
It begins with a double. The man that has won title of doubles, doing it with Del Warren. They won the Showboat doubles from the number 2 seed, 214 to 207 over Brian Voss and Les Sykes. Strike up, second frame. Six pin, Bo.
Devers has struggled a little bit on the right-hand lane. He crossed over twice in the Weber match on the last ball to win the match, and in the 8th frame to get a strike. And here he goes a little bit high. He's gone with a little more speed. A couple ways to adjust to a bowling lane. You can move your feet, increase the ball speed, or change balls. For Scott Devers, he's using a little extra speed to hold the line.
All right. Tomorrow, ABC Sports travels to Spain for the season premiere of the World League of American Football. We'll see the New York, New Jersey Knights collide against the Barcelona Dragons, beginning live, except on the West Coast at 1 Eastern, 12 Central and Pacific. That's tomorrow on ABC Sports. World League of American Football. That's tomorrow here on ABC. It'll be fun to watch.
That's for sure. Devers with the full grip, holds the ball on the side, fairly straight shot, keeps everything under control, wants to fill all the frames.
Beautiful strike. And Bo, where they're playing that game, it's an absolutely beautiful stadium built in Barcelona for Olympic Games coming up in '92.
And I'm sure that everybody will enjoy it. It'll be interesting. Good, solid football in the springtime, but now it's bowling. So far, Joe Firpo is perfect through 2 frames.
Well, the 5 nearly took out the 2, and there's the Firpo smile.
Just a really nice guy. And an interesting shot by our director, Larry Cam. Watch the head pin. Goes to the sideboard. This is the power. This head pin drives in behind the 2, 4, and 5. Knocks them all out, but the 2. Firpo almost trips it.
Joe Firpo has struggled this winter, and sudden pressure from his sponsor added special meaning to this tournament.
Well, it seems because of my poor showing this winter, I guess my sponsors are getting a little impatient, and this tournament in particular really helped me out, got my confidence back. I hope it restores their confidence too.
I think they ought to stick with this young man.
He's got a lot of potential, Chris. I've seen him, as I said before, as a junior bowler down in Florida when I did some exhibitions. A little self-confidence, a few dollars in the bank. He'll make some today. He'll be ready to go.
A bad break coming up too high.
I think the main change Joe has made in his game is he doesn't loft the ball as much over the foul line, which is good. But I think he needs to get a little bit more disciplined at the foul line. That time he had a good shot, but he just kind of pulled away from the foul line. It's like kind of throwing a ball or swinging a baseball bat and punching at it instead of extending through it, and that would help his game. Makes that ball set up and not go high.
Oh, great way to visualize how to do it properly. Your explanation.
Thank you.
And Bo today on his tip of the week will be what you should carry in your bowling bag. Don't miss that either. Okay, take a little break here. We'll be back.
To show how Firestone Firehawk tires perform, we occasionally take some of them for a little weekend drive. At the toughest tracks across the country, we put our Firestone Firehawk street performance tires, including the same SB radials you can buy, to the test in racing. Over 1 million miles now, and still counting. Firestone, tires that meet the test.
Great weekend. Sure went fast.
Nothing beats a bud with a friend. Nothing beats what we've got here. Nothing beats clean, crisp, cold. Nothing beats the king of beers. Yeah, nothing beats a bud. Yeah, nothing beats a bud. Nothing beats a Budweiser. Nothing beats a bud.
Oh, hi. I'm Randy Peterson, and I just made this stop to tell you about our next stop. It's the PBA National Championship, next Saturday on ABC Sports Pro Bowlers Tour.
Randy Peterson next week. And very seriously, Scott Devers, while we're away, running behind our time frame, he left a 4-7 in the 4th because of a high hit marked with a spare. And then in the 5th frame, just completed a strike. Leading by 8 pins is this man, Joe Firpo, in his 5th ever telecast. His last was in 1988 in Windsor, Ontario. Oh, no. 4, 6, 7, 10. Stephanie Barr, Joe's fiancée, has a right to be blue. Coming up high, and the result, disaster. Here's his shot, covering the 6th pin. A lot of speed, hoping for a little luck, Bo.
Thank you, Chris. Man has won the U.S. Open, closing in on $1 million in earnings. And I think one of the keys to being successful, David Husted, in the final round is staying calm under the pressure. What do you do to stay smooth out there on the lanes?
Well, once I find the shot early in the week, I just try to play my game. I don't care if Norm Duke's playing the gutter or I'm playing the fourth arrow. I have to do what Dave Husted does best, and that's play my game.
How about your nerves?
The first couple shots I'll be a little nervous, but after that, hopefully I can get zoomed in there and ready to go.
He's a toughie. He'll be in the semifinal, Chris.
Okay. And it'll meet either Devers or Firpo, who has left the 2 and sleeper 8. Sort of a light hit into the pocket for Joe, as you see the pin setter. I wonder if it's on or off spot down there. The advantage of having a close-up camera, or ABC crew.
Well, if the machine hits the pin, it can be moved back over, but if it's a natural pin action, it has to stay where it is.
Doesn't matter, did it? That's the way to cover that 2-8. Dave Husted, whom you just talked to, sort of the model, I think, out here on the tour. One of them, along with Brian Voss, a few more. They have some qualities that are exemplary.
That's for sure. And here's a young man coming into his own. He has a commanding 8-pin lead. He can make it 18.
And then remember, because of the Open, 4, 6, 7, 10, Firpo, he led by 8, but then trailed by 8, and now trails by 18.
Scott Devers playing the left side of the lane. He's going to line up right about in the center, and he's going to slide right about in the center. And he's going to have a pretty smooth trajectory out over the first arrow. Wow, he's had a couple of times in his Weber match, and in this match he could have taken a commanding lead, and something happens. It was a solid 9 in the Weber match, back with the solid 7 here in the 7th frame against Joe Firpo. It keeps the match close, and doesn't have to be said again, but I'll say it. This young man is one of the best spare shooters on the tour, and I doubt if he'll even come close to missing this. He'll maintain a 17-pin lead.
15th telecast for Scott Devers, 5 for his opponent Joe Firpo. Devers leads by 17.
Man, no better way to face the day. When the sun comes up, then I'm feeling fine. 'Cause the AM surely is my favorite time.
The morning belongs to Speed Stick. It's what more men reach for: to prepare, to prevent, to protect. Speed Stick, 110% protection.
No better way to face the day. No better way to face the day.
Speed Stick, 110% protection.
If you have one of these, or any of these, you'd better protect them with one of these. The SL Weber 7-outlet strip from True Value Hardware stores turns one receptacle into 7 grounded outlets with built-in surge and noise protection. Take home this SL Weber outlet strip for only $7.66 while supplies last during March at participating True Value Hardware stores and home centers.
An 8th field remains for the final test of speed, strength, and skill. It's the conclusion of the Jeep Superstars next on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Scott Devers leads by 7 with a spur up as a result of a double by Firpo. Or 6-10.
Boy, you just had a feeling that was coming. He had been struggling on that lane. He's either crossed over or hit solid. Now he cuts right through the middle. He had a 7-pin lead. He's going to fall behind in this match. The only thing he can do is go over and knock down the 6 and 10 pins and go on to the 9th frame. It'll be a close match.
All right.
Silly mistake there. Good spare shooter. He doesn't have to go for that 4-6 split. He needs to just knock down the 2 pins. It actually cost him 1. It's a bad gamble as he asks for a re-rack here on the left-hand lane in the 9th frame. No reason to go for the 6-10 here, or at least to slide it over. Such a low percentage shot, at least 1,000 to 1. Take the sure pin. Just keep the pin count up. Right now, he trails by 8 pins coming into the 9th frame. Potential 214. Firpo going at a 2:02 pace.
Left lane. Broke up the split, but still the 4-7. Scott won his first match over Pete Weber 217 to 213. 7 strikes.
Both players concentrating on their own games as it comes down to the final 2 frames. Firpo, a 8-pin lead. Deaver's been a little soft with this ball speed in the last 2 frames. It's gotten him in trouble.
There's an open in the 5th for Firpo, an open in the 8th for Deavers, and this is our second match, the winner to meet. Dave Husted.
Big shot for Firpo here. He's had an opportunity. He's struggled the whole game. He has trailed except for the first 2 frames. Now he has an opportunity in the 9th frame to open up an 18-pin lead. He just need a mark in the 10th for victory. Key shot.
Stephanie Barr's fiance loved it.
Boy, there's a shot that made the great Don Carter the great player he was. The love tap on the 6 and 10. Watch Firpo, a good power shot out there. Now watch the action, the 6-pin on the right-hand part of your screen. Just bumps out the 10. Firpo has an 8-10-pin lead, and all he needs is a mark.
Firpo from Lake Worth, Florida, 5th telecast. 1 win, that was a doubles event victory at the Showboat in Las Vegas.
Waiting for a ball return. Boy, you can see the oil on that ball as it came out of that return rack. I said it's a very lubricious condition out there today, and it's all over the track of his ball. See where his index finger is? But right now for Firpo, just needs a good mark, and he'll go on to meet Husted.
No way you can miss that 2.
No way. He'll make this 2-pin. He'll end up with a game around 210 and shut out Scott Deavers. We know that, right, partner?
Yeah. Easy to sit up here and say that.
Needs a spare and 4 pins to reach the semifinal.
Oh, surprising amount of speed to cover the 2. Wanted to keep it straight, and he did. Right on it.
Now here's a case that comes to point once again. It's come up more often this year, obviously, with Del Ballard throwing the ball in the channel. Throw it down the middle. You're going to get 4 pins anyway down the middle. Don't even take a chance on fouling, hitting your ankle, or even swinging it wide.
He's got 211 and victory. He'll go in against Dave Husted. Our bowling tip of the week. What to carry in your bowling bag?
ABC Sports Bowling Tip of the Week is brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately?
On this week's bowling tip, we're going to take a look inside the bowling bag to see what every well-prepared player should bring to the bowling center. With me is all-time great Mark Roth.
Hi, Bo. As you see here, I have a double ball bag. I have a pair of shoes. And first thing I do before I bowl is I patch up. Use Robbie's new skin. Put on my thumb to protect my thumb throughout the day. Second, I will put on my wrist support. As you know, I've had tendonitis over the last couple of years, and I wear this while I'm bowling.
A lot of the players use that and allows them to get through the whole day. Good idea.
And then I have my rosin bag.
I think that's one of the musts for even the league player. They get under pressure, it gets hot in the bowling center, their hands perspire. That'll help them through not to lose the shot on the downswing.
Definitely. And I have a little sand screen, as you can see. I use that once in a while to make sure my thumb hole's nice and smooth for a clean release.
That'll work.
Then I have bowler's tape.
Well, bowler's tape is probably the thing we see most often on national television. As a player's thumb goes down, they'll stick a piece of tape in the thumb hole. If under the pressure their hand swells, they'll take a piece out, keep the good feel, and make sure the shot comes off just right.
Definitely. My thumb fluctuates a lot, so I go through a lot of tape throughout the year. And last, I have a little shoe brush. Keep my shoes nice and clean, so I have a nice clean slide.
Good slide, and obviously hit the line solid. And Mark, there's one little item you forgot to mention in here, these autographed Mark Roth pictures. How come there's so many still left in the package?
Well, I just ran through about 6 of them, Bo, and this is my last pack I have left, so you could be the first one to have one.
Thanks a lot.
Fact. The all-new Ford Escort is the best-selling small car in America. Fact. The new Escort has the highest owner satisfaction of any car in our history. Fact. Escort has more repeat buyers than any car in its class. Call it leadership. Call it winning. Call it anything you want. The simple fact is, Ford is #1. Save during Leadership Month at your Ford dealer now.
Power Stick Antiperspirant. It gives a man what he needs to excel. Power. Control. Power Stick. Stroke for stroke, 50% more power. 50% more odor and wetness fighters. 24-hour control that ordinary deodorant sticks just can't beat. All day, all night. Power Stick for 24-hour control.
One of these travelers knows that some payphones are connected to operator service companies you've never heard of. Some who can charge 2 to 3 times more than AT&T for long-distance calls. One of them knows a way to avoid being overcharged is to dial 10ATT0 and the number. Which one knows all this? The one who isn't being taken to the cleaners. 10ATT0 for fair prices and quality service. We're always there to help.
When it's heartburn.
Plus gas.
Get new Tom's Plus. Calcium-rich antacid relief plus gas-busting simethicone.
No other antacid gives you that.
New Tom's Plus.
What's different about Polident? Refreshing mint. There's a minty mouthwash ingredient in every tablet. Other cleansers may get dentures clean, but Polident gets the minty fresh clean. Super strength, super minty, Polident.
Strike out to score more.
I just can't seem to find the pocket.
Call 1-800-4ABC-VCR and let Bo Burton's instructional home videos, Score More, help you solve your bowling problems.
Here's what the pros do.
Learn Bo's valuable tips on performance, practice techniques, body conditioning, and equipment selection at Score More. Only $24.98 plus $3 shipping. To order Bo's home video, call 1-800-4ABC-VCR.
In the Bud Light Open finals, we have advanced to the semifinal match. First 2 games, Scott Devers, 217 to Pete Weber's 213. He had 7 strikes. Then he met Joe Firpo. Firpo winning with 6 strikes, 211 to 204. The semifinal match coming up, as you see, our stepladder approach. And a name that we'd like to see out on the lanes a little more often, great champion with Bo and me, Marshall Holman.
Marshall, welcome to the announce booth. 16th place finish this week, and before we go in this last game, a quick critique on what you see on the championship pair.
Well, the pair looks kind of tough right now, Bo. It looks like the right-hand lane, if you cut a little bit short, it's going to hook right through the nose, but they've got to make a good, crisp shot. I look for Dave and Joe to give us a good match, though.
All right. I want to point out that much of the success of the PBA is because of you, young man. And next week, we go to the PBA National Championship, and that's the one Marshall needs to be a Triple Crown winner. And then 2 weeks from today, the True Value Open in Peoria, Illinois.
The Bud Light Open, 160-man field. Pretty good scores to make the top 24. 217 average. Here's some of the other finishers. Dave Arnold, Randy Peterson getting his game back together and looks sharp. Mike Miller, the power player, 2 fingers. George Branham III, one of my favorite guys. Berardi making a somewhat cameo appearance now. Doug Kent having another good week. Merrill up there. Mike Shady, I like his game. Ryan Schaefer had a 300 this week. Ken Johnson, the power player, in 15th. There's the bowling's all-time leading money winner, Holman. Lawrence there in a good position. Dave DeAntremont. Moser, a proud father of a new baby. Andrew David Moser, 10 pounds born this week. Pensac, Curtis Odom. Ted Glatke, John Force, the power player, in 23rd place. And rounding out the top 24, Oran Jr., the lefty, $1,500, Chris.
There's a lot of spirit in that wonderful state of Oregon. And, of course, Marshall Holman plugs it as much as anybody, and rightfully so. And Dave Husted, also from that state. Marshall, you travel together.
Yeah, Dave and I are going to be driving later on today to Toledo, and Dave's a good friend. And I think if there's a better shot maker on this tour, I don't know who he is. I think Dave is just a great bowler, and I wish him well.
A couple interesting things happened as they were finishing up their practice ball. David Husted 4 practice balls. Joe Firpo has no more since he's already won a match. Husted had the ball get hit by the machine. It returned all the way back up the lane. He's now ready for the first frame.
7-time PBA champion, his first title, recall it vividly, the U.S. Open in Houston in 1982.
Firpo has had trouble winning any matches in the championship round. He now has his 3rd victory in his young career. Let's see if he loosens up against Husted and starts throwing some big strikes.
And the man looking for that first singles title is 2 games away. Sitting on the bubble bow is Robert Lawrence, and should Firpo or Duke win, Robert would be out for the year.
He would have to requalify for the Firestone, and these next 5 weeks are the most important weeks. Following this week, we have 3 major championships coming up. We have the PBA National starting Sunday right after the players leave here in Toledo. Then we have the U.S. Open in Indianapolis, and of course the Firestone on April 27th. Now Firpo, 2nd frame.
One, 2, 4.
Not much you can say about that. Marshall Holman just kind of missed the building.
Yeah, it looks like the right lane hooks a little bit more than the left from what I can see, and Joe just made a little bit of a mistake. He's got a makeable spare and needs to convert.
Marshall, 2 schools of thoughts on the urethane lanes. Go down the left side for the 1, 2, 4, or play it off your strike ball.
I always try and play it off my strike ball. It seems a little more comfortable for me, and that's what Joe's doing. And he makes his spare.
David Husted, the full grip, fingers inserted down to the first knuckle, tucks that pinky, spreads the index finger, going for a double.
Dave Husted on 5 of our telecasts last year. He was 2nd in Rochester, also at the Japan Cup, 2nd in Greater Hartford, 4th in Green Bay, and 4th at AC Delco.
Ideal style, good high backswing for momentum, a free swing right next to that left ankle. You can see he's playing a 3rd arrow, and he just sucks that 10-pin right out. Good leverage, good angle, and of course Husted off to an early 10-point lead. Well, Marshall, how was the carry all week long? A solid 10 here for David Husted.
It was very good at times. You know, I bowled next to David throughout the whole week in the match play. Now, there's a great shot, and the 6 wraps around the 10, and Dave's carry was very good early in the day, and later on, it went awry. He left a lot of solid 10s last night. I thought he bowled great and just hung in there.
That's interesting. Most of the players bowled real well at night and struggled in the morning. David, just the opposite.
David checking out the surface on the approach. Mr. Smoothie. What a temperament.
Here's a young man, Joe Firpo, started bowling at the age of 8. He bowled 3 years on his high school team and has now been on the tour for 6 years.
Frame for Joe, and if you just joined us, he defeated Scott Devers 211-204, and Devers over Pete Weber 217-213. And the winner of this semifinal game will meet Norm Duke.
All right, we'll take a look at where Joe Firpo is playing the lane. He's starting over here in the center, and he's going to slide over in this area, and then he's going to play a pretty good size hook between the 3rd and 4th arrows.
4, 6, 7.
Now he's got some major problems, and really all he can do here is try to get the ball over in the 4-7 zone and just try to knock these 2 pins out. If he gets lucky, he'll have one bounce out of the pin area and take out the 6. Especially with a strike up, you got to get the wood.
All right, we're in our semifinal game. 21-pin lead by Dave Husted over Joe Firpo. More after this.
shine the lights on you, shine the lights on me. Keep your Bud Light shining for everyone to see. Shine the lights on this, shine the lights on that. Oh, shining all the others is where Bud Light's at.
When you're looking good, you want Bud Light. The clean, fresh taste won't fill you up and never let you down.
You can taste it, you can feel it. You know you got it right. Everything else is just the light. Keep your Bud.
You want to protect your family with a good investment at a good price. You need someone to help you handle the road ahead. You need a Goodyear retailer, not only because he stocks a wide selection of quality tires, but because he can help you select the right tire for your budget and the way you drive. A tire that can help provide your family with a secure future. Good tires, good service, good people, Goodyear.
ABC Sports is proud to announce the birth of a brand new football league. The Knights meet the Dragons live from Barcelona when the World League kicks off tomorrow.
Looking at Joe Firpo, he's going against Dave Husted. While we're away, Husted struck in the fourth, marked with a spare in the fifth, has a 21-pin lead over Joe. Joe now in the fifth frame.
That was a great shot by Joe. You know, while we were away, Dave Husted made two quality shots, and he's the kind of player that makes those good shots, and Joe definitely needs to get some strikes going to catch him.
Okay, Bo.
Thank you, Chris Shackle, our tournament leader by almost 500 pins. Norm Duke, nobody can head you off in this tournament. What mistakes do you have to guard against so you don't beat yourself?
I haven't made any mistakes this week. I'm not guarding against any of that. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to play good. And them guys are going to have to come to me today.
Sounds like a winner. He's still got to back it up. We'll know in 15 minutes. Back to you.
Trying for that double, leaving a 6-pin on the left lane, Marshall.
Yeah, he was a little short on that delivery. I'll tell you what, Norm Duke is looking pretty darn confident, but it's going to be a tough match for him.
Positive thinking.
That's a good way to be. You know, you don't want to throw out any negative kind of thoughts. You want to be very, very aggressive.
Firpo all over this left-hand lane, Chris. He's missed the head pin, bent in the nose, now crossed over. Confusion.
Back to Dave Husted now. Spare up, shooting in the 6th frame. 21-pin lead. Gleaming lanes here at Yorktown. Powerful. We asked Dave Husted who has impacted his bowling career the most.
Well, actually, it's been more than one person. It's been a few, Bo. It's Dick Ridker's outlook on the mental aspect of the game's helped me a lot. My father stressing the fundamentals to me at an early age. Even though it doesn't look like it because I'm pretty even-keeled out there, Marshall Holman's intensity and aggressiveness has probably helped me out a little bit. And John Jowdy, my long-time friend and coach out here, his theories to the game have helped me out a lot, and hopefully they can help me out today.
Well, that's a winning team if there ever was one for Dave Husted. Okay, 31-pin lead now for Dave Husted as a result of a double. We'll have more of the semifinal game after this.
No better way to face the day. When the sun comes up and I'm feeling fine, 'cause the AM surely is my favorite time.
The morning belongs to Speed Stick. It's what more men reach for: to prepare, to prevent, to protect. Speed Stick, 110% protection.
No better way to face the day. No better way to face the day.
Speed Stick, 110% protection.
I'm a smoker, but in my office, it doesn't work. No problem. I chew Wrigley's Spearmint Gum. That cool, clean taste fits any agenda. When I can't smoke, I enjoy pure chewing satisfaction.
Okay, Fort and say, do I love Diet A&W root beer and cream soda with 100% NutraSweet. And action. No, am I right? No, into the glass, into the glass. What, do you need glasses or are you just stupid?
I've been told both.
It's the taste that made A&W famous.
Oh, hi. I'm Randy Peterson, and I just made this stop to tell you about our next stop. It's the PBA National Championship, next Saturday on ABC Sports Pro Bowlers Tour.
Next Saturday, the big one. But today, David Husted now up, leading by 34 while we're away. His opponent, Joe Firpo, covered 3-6-10 for a spare in the 7th, then struck in the 8th. Three-bagger. Coming up next on ABC's Wide World of Sports, the grand finale of the Jeep Superstars from Cancun, Mexico. Stars, Herschel Walker, Barry Sanders, Kelly Gruber, among the top 10 elite going for the big first prize. Big first prize here today is $30,000.
Husted, 9th frame, can slam the door on Firpo.
All right. Also on Wide World today, a special preview for the World League of American Football. Also a taped interview with Bo Jackson's orthopedic surgeon, Dr. James Andrews.
That was a real shame that Husted left that solid 8. And speaking of Bo Jackson, a real shame of one of the great athletes. You hope he comes back. But for Husted, conversion here in the 8th, in the 9th frame, a spare in the 10th, and he'd have the match locked up. He'd go against Norm Duke.
And he's making the quality shots throughout the whole match. That's 9 straight shots right in the pocket, showing the shot-making ability that Dave Husted has.
Well, Marshall, remember when he won the U.S. Open down in Houston, and when he gets hot and really has confidence in his game and keeps that arm swing free, he bowls as well as anybody out here. Remember, he's 8th all-time money winner, closing in on $1 million. So Firpo has his hands full. He must strike right here to have any chance.
And Marshall, you've had some great matches with Dave over the years.
Yes, I have. I think, and for the most part, Dave's gotten the better of me. Maybe that's why I have so much respect for him. He beat me in Sarasota last year in a roll-off in Las Vegas, but he's looking really good right now, and I think Norm Duke's going to have a real tussle on his hands.
Well, Yogi Berra from St. Louis said it's not over till it's over, and if Joe Firpo strikes in the next 2 balls, David Husted does not have a lock.
One.
You know, he's made an interesting move here, Firpo, at the end, Marshall. He's moved to the deep inside line instead of playing that big hook, and that's where Husted's been playing, that's where Duke's been playing, so Firpo, win or lose this match, has gained some experience.
Absolutely.
Ah, yes. Stephanie Barr, his fiancée. That's tension.
Firpo must strike on this ball to have any chance. He would force Dave Husted to mark.
Well, it looks like I called it a little prematurely. This match certainly isn't over, and Joe Firpo's making a great match out of it, and forces Dave Husted to get up in the 10th frame and make a good shot, and you know, make the spare and hold count.
Perspiration.
Pressure, that's what he talked about in his pregame interview. Plus, it's pretty warm here in Cleveland today, I venture to say. The mid-60s, spring-like weather has an effect on the forehead.
Joe Firpo of Lakewood, Florida, has strung 5 at the end with a 215.
All right, he's put the pressure on Husted. Husted, strike or 9 on the first ball, he wins. Anything less, he must spare. Winner.
All right.
Just fantastic. I mean, he's got 2 solid 8s in a row, and the man bowled a great game.
Even if he misses the 8-pin, he will have 216, a 1-pin victory over Joe Firpo, who did bowl very well. In the finals, it's going to be David Husted against one of the hottest players I've ever seen on a 1-week basis, Norm Duke.
Remember, Firpo had bowled at 215, and Dave will be in the 220s. ABC Sports Presentation Professional Bowlers Tour will return after this message and a word from our ABC station.
Heartburn? You know what to do about that.
But what if it's heartburn plus gas?
Well, now comes Tom's Plus. Calcium-rich antacid relief plus gas-busting simethicone.
No other antacid gives you that.
No, sir. To get rid of heartburn plus gas, don't get caught minus. New Tom's Plus.
No better way to face the day.
The morning belongs to Skin Bracer Aftershave. Its cool, brisk tingle really gets you going. And what a great scent. Skin Bracer.
No better way to face the day. Find it.
Only one antiperspirant in the world helps keep you so dry with the cool, clean scent of Old Spice. Only one deodorant in the world has so many odor-fighting ingredients with the cool, clean scent of Old Spice. There's only one Old Spice.
You never know what will happen.
This isn't my bag, I'll tell you.
Oscar night. Billy Crystal hosts the 63rd Annual Academy Awards live Monday.
Harrisburg Copiers wants to help your business be more productive with Mita high-performance copiers, the advanced copying system for today's business needs, the pressures of business. Today's copiers must be faster, easier to use, more reliable, versatility and productivity. Mita Copiers, performance and beyond. Harrisburg Copiers stands behind every Mita copier with service and reliability. See the selection of quality Mita copiers at Harrisburg Copiers. Simply the best with 25 years experience.
With all the cars to choose from, picking the right one is a challenge. Well, we challenge you to find a better car than the Nissan Sentra, the best in its class. The Maxima SE, ditto. In fact, Nissan's won 17 awards the past 2 years, more than anyone else. And your dealer's ready to deal. So really, the challenge isn't which car to buy, it's which Nissan. We challenge you to find a better car or a better deal.
Weather with Rob Dixon, tonight at 6 on 27 News.
From TV1 in New York, here's Frank Gifford.
Okay, we'll return for today's final match of bowling in a moment. And coming up on ABC's Wide World of Sports from Cancun, Mexico, the finals of the Jeep Superstars. And then we'll go live to Barcelona for a preview of the World League of American Football, which makes its debut tomorrow on ABC Sports. But the league actually kicked off its inaugural season today, and they did it in Frankfurt, Germany. And arriving to oversee the pregame ceremonies, the president of the World Football League, that, of course, Mike Lynn, formerly the general manager of the Minnesota Vikings. And the very first play of the World League of American Football, the opening kickoff. Nothing dramatic, but anything will be remembered that comes out of this very first game, such as this safety, as London's number 22, Jed Garrett, is sacked, taken down in the end zone for the first points of the World League of American Football. And then the very first touchdown, and this will go down in the record books. Nothing dramatic, but taking it in from 28 yards out, David Smith for a 28-yard touchdown, and there's the score at the moment. It is London over Frankfurt. That score 10-5 midway through the third quarter. Never thought I'd say it, but London and Frankfurt. Back to you, Chris.
Thank you very much, Frank. And a rundown now on how our matches have gone. 217, 213, Devers over Weber. In the second match, Devers went against Joe Firpo. Devers 211 to 204. Firpo 211 to 204 because he went in against Dave Husted, who defeated him 227 to 215. How about a prediction from Marshall Holman, Bo?
Boy, I hate to go out on a limb, but if David Husted bowls anywhere near the kind of game he just bowled the last game, he'll win the tournament. In my eyes. However, I watched Norm Duke last night. He was averaging 260 for the first 7 games last night.
Well, it depends on the lane condition. I think that Norm Duke is going to be very tough, but remember, he's only got 1 title going against a guy who's proven himself 7 other times, so Duke believes he can win, but there's 15 minutes left, and we'll know the answer for sure. First match, first shot, Norm Duke.
30,000 of the winner, 16 runner-up. Following us, ABC's Wide World of Sports. What a greeting.
He's got to be nervous. Even though he seemed very, very confident in the interview, he's been waiting around for quite a long time to bowl this one game, and he's got to be a little bit nervous.
Needs to get the ball over on the left side of the lane and drive the ball over the head pin over into the 610. Tough shot, but that's the way to do it.
Norm is 0 for 1 from the top seed, lost to Guppy Troop in the '84 Bud Classic in Columbus.
Not even close. In fact, I believe he was really taking the wrong technique. This is a washout, or what I call the PBA washout, the 1, 2, 4, 6, 10. We never had seen many of those before. Many of players are trying to go between the 1 and 6, not the right way. Now Houston.
Shot at 227 in the last match. If you just joined us, to Firpo's 213. His last win was at the 1990 Showboat Invitational.
Dave, good all-around athlete, 6th handicap golfer. He was a high school basketball player, played guard, has been at the top of his game for many years on a tour, a dedicated athlete.
Crediting so many people for his successful career. And Bo, I remember in '87 he withdrew from the Firestone because Michelle was going to deliver Corey back home.
Their first child, and obviously David, very conscientious father. Home comes first, business second. I like that attitude. He has not missed the pocket in 12 shots. Coming up, second frame championship match.
Consistency here by the young man from Milwaukee, Oregon. Crowd here very much behind Norm Duke. Norm, who is 5'5", 125 pounds. You'll hear him go Duke, Duke, Duke.
I remember when he won his first title, going through some greats such as Earl Anthony. The crowd was wild, and Norm just carried it all the way to the title.
And that was in 1983, right here in Cleveland, Ohio.
Norm Duke, that 5, 6, 7-step approach. He's a field player, takes the full approach. For a little guy, gets the ball up high in his backswing, which is the proper way to do it, and hits the line better than anybody ever in the game of bowling, except maybe Marshall Holman and Don Carter. Marshall, I like the way he hits the line. How about you?
Oh, I certainly do, but you could see he made a little bit of an adjustment in his second shot. His first shot, he got it way wide, and the next shot on lane 32, he kind of pinched. He didn't have the extension to make the ball go long, so he's a little confused right now.
And 42-game tournament, Pensack, who has 15 wins and no losses in his last 15 games on ABC television, but had an early leader. He was the defending champion, and Norm Duke took over and led it all the way through 42 games by almost 500 pins as he puts a piece of tape in his bowling ball, wipes off his shoes, tries to get a fresh sight in that mind of his because he hasn't missed the pocket much all week long, and tee it up in the third.
Starting now to get behind their hero, the 26-year-old native of Fort Worth, now bowling out of Albuquerque. Strike up. And that double gives Dave Husted a 23-pin lead.
A partisan Marshall Holman, bowling's all-time leading money winner. Marshall, remember David Husted when he came out, always had that strong ball with a little hook, but the big loop in his arm swing. I remember he changed in '85, and he's been awfully tough since then.
Well, since he's made that change, Bo, he's really become what I consider the consummate shot maker, and he's showing it in the 13 frames he's bowled. He's had every ball in the pocket, and he's looking very, very good.
4, 6, 10.
Well, the kiss of death, Marshall. You've learned how to do it just like we do up here in the announcement sometime. Here's the position of David Husted. He gets a little pull on it and probably aims the ball a little bit. First shot out of the pocket. He doesn't have to pay the maximum penalty, but he does the 4, 6, 10. Just go for the 6-10. It's going to be a tight match.
Imagine going from a lead nearly into the 30s and now leading by only 8, and Duke has a strike up.
Fact. The full-size Ford pickup has more repeat buyers than any other pickup. Fact. The full-size Ford pickup sales lead over Chevy is wider than last year. Fact. Our most popular model is priced $600 less than a comparably equipped Chevy. Call it leadership, call it winning, call it anything you want. The simple fact is, Ford is #1. Save now during Leadership Month at your Ford dealer.
Shine a light on you, shine a light on me. Keep your Bud Light shining for everyone to see.
When you're looking good, you want Bud Light. The clean, fresh taste won't fill you up and never let you down.
You can taste it, you can feel it. You know you got it right. 'Cause everything else is just light. Just keep your Bud Light shining. Everything else is just light. You got to shine on. Everything else is just light.
First time successful hosting for Dad Jim Cottrell and his son Mike here at Yorktown Lanes. Coming in from Akron, the commissioner of the Professional Bowlers Association, Joe Antonora.
Norm Duke, fourth frame, needs a strike to take the lead.
Imagine how things change.
I watched Norm fall behind matches a little bit last night, and he always came back toward the end. So, you know, I think that open by Husted plus that double's got to give him a lot of confidence.
Husted obviously did give him an opening and concentrating on his own game. You have to put that one open frame behind you. David's got a strong mind. He's bowling against another player that's really coming into his own, Norm Duke, who has a chance to take a 12-pin lead, fifth frame.
Norm Duke, 17th television appearance with a 222 average, third at Fairlane's, fourth in the Johnny Petraglia this year. So important, that shot. Next Saturday, ABC's Pro Bowlers Tour continues as we head west to Toledo, the Goss capital. Top bowlers take aim to capture the first jewel of bowling's Triple Crown, $200,000 PBA National Championship. Marshall Holman will be there, trying to win it to become a Triple Crown winner. Coverage begins at 3, 2 Central, next Saturday here on ABC Sports.
Big shot for Houston. See if he can adjust off the 4-6. Really put some pressure on Norm Duke. And David adjusted off that 4-6 Marshall and slid by. Could be in a little trouble here in the late going.
It's going to be a little tough. You can see the ball trying to make it back to pocket, but it just doesn't quite get high enough to tickle him out. He came in high the last time on that lane, and I didn't think it was a lane. I thought it was the release out of his thumb. He hung up in the ball, and I think that was what made the ball hook high.
That is one of the most important points you can make, this adjustment off a bad shot.
All right. So having trouble that left approach. Dave Husted. Here we have money won. That was before Pete Weber. Let's see, $5,500. He takes the lead over Ozio as a result of finishing fifth today. And now we have it with the average. Four in a row.
You know, Chris, Norm Duke is in a zone that great players get in just every once in a while, right, Marshall, where you absolutely do not believe you can ever miss. What do you think?
Well, I agree with you right now. After watching the first two frames, I really thought he was going to be in big trouble, but he's gotten it back together. You can see it in his eyes right now. He feels like a winner.
That's a great feel. You get it just a blessed few in a sport, and right now Norm's got it. Let's see if he can take advantage of it and make this his second championship.
They're saying Duke. That's not negative. That's all positive for this little guy from Albuquerque. Now Dave Husted.
Something we don't often see on the PBA Tour, especially with the inception of urethane bowling balls since 1980. The 8-10 split. Not much David Husted can do is just bounce one of the pins out. He's in real trouble in this match.
Well, that'll make you rub your brow?
Well, the last 2 weeks, Chris, the players have seen more oil on the lanes than any other weeks so far during the season, and the players are playing that oil. That's the proper way to do it, but if you get the ball a little bit skidding too far, it's a pocket split.
That was a strike in the 8th frame for Dave Husted. Marshall and Bo have been talking about the abilities of Norm Duke. In the last 25 tournaments, he's cashed 20 times, top 24 15 times, top 5 times.
I think he's taken the game a lot more seriously in the last year or so, and I was talking to him about that last night, and he agreed with that and thanked me for the compliment, and that's the way I meant it.
10.
See Duke leaving the 10-pin here as he has a commanding 44-pin lead. Good high follow-through. Look at how well he hits the line. Look at that knee bend. The half 10. And Marshall, you made a good point. Norm Duke always had the ability, and I think he kind of got faked out when he won when he was only 18 years old. He thought the tour was easy, and now he's growing up.
I agree with you, Bo. As he converts the 10-pin, he's just decided that now is the time to do it, and you know, he's got this great ability like we've talked about, and he needs to take advantage of it, and now he is.
There's David.
See how Duke is playing the championship pair. He's playing on the left side, sliding in this area, and then he'll be rolling that ball right between the 3rd and 4th arrows.
6, 7, 10.
Major mistake at a critical time. That's the only way David Husted could get back into the match, is to let him have an open frame, and now Norm Duke has gone high, left the 6, 7, 10. What Duke can do is get the ball over in this 6-10 zone and slide the ball pin right over into the 7. Duke will go for it. He can lock up the match if he makes it. Opens the door with that shot, Chris Schenkel.
191 through the 4th.
Husted can get up, strike out, and force Norm Duke to double to win the tournament. Really has changed things.
You're right, Marshall. Biggest shot of the tournament for David Husted right here in the 9th frame. If he doesn't strike, he's in trouble.
Pressure. Now the lead of Duke cut to 19.
It's a beautiful clutch strike.
And he needs this one in the 10th, and has a great possibility of a tie match.
What a turnaround. David's best year last year, winning $128,000.
Must strike here. Just lost his timing. Marshall saw his pivot step slide out and didn't get the leverage.
He got ahead of that ball and just had nothing at the bottom of the swing. That's really unfortunate and surprising for Dave in that situation.
See him slide off balance. We noted how well Norm Duke was finishing with a good solid knee bend and slide. Husted, the taller player, not as low to the foul line, slides by and basically has given the championship to Norm Duke.
You lead a tournament by almost 500 pins. You know, you've got to feel kind of good to see the tournament leader win. I know I've had the opportunity a couple times and haven't come through, and it hurts when you lead by that much.
You're changing streams on us here, though, but that's okay.
And David of Milwaukee, Oregon, who today is seeking his 8th championship to go along with his United States Open victory in Houston. And for Norm Duke, won his last title and only one in 1983 in Cleveland, coming from the 5th seed, this time from the top spot. He is the winner. Let's go back to New York and Frank Gifford.
Okay, Chris, and coming up next on ABC's Wide World of Sports from Cancun, Mexico, the finals of the Jeep Superstars, and we'll also go live to Barcelona for a preview of the World League of American Football, which makes its debut tomorrow on ABC Sports. We'll return to Chris Schenkel for a final word right after this. Stay with us.
something for all you truck drivers to think about. There's an oil made special for trucks. An oil with the Shell brand. Oil that protects engines when they rev their highest and work their hardest. Think any oil will take care of your truck? Think again. Truck Guard from Shell.
To get rid of her gray, my wife can spend 40 minutes. But I discovered this 5-minute hair coloring.
The revolutionary discovery called Just for Men from the leader in men's hair coloring. Simply apply Just for Men and in 5 minutes shampoo out.
Gray is blended away. The look of my natural color is back in 5 minutes. That was me, and it won't fade or wash out.
My hair takes forever, but you look great in just 5 minutes.
The look of your natural color in just 5 minutes with Just for Men.
Man, no better way to face the day. When the sun comes up, then I'm feeling fine. 'Cause the AM surely is my favorite time.
The morning belongs to Speed Stick. It's what more men reach for: to prepare, to prevent, to protect. Speed Stick, 110% protection.
No better way to face the day. Man, no better way to face the day.
Speed Stick, 110% protection.
They all laughed at Christopher Columbus when he said the world was round.
They said a car that paid so much attention to handling its passengers would have nothing left for handling the road. They haven't driven the new Ford Crown Victoria.
Ho, 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 who's got the last laugh now?
More room, more agile. More than ever, it's the new Crown Victoria.
That's nice.
Have you driven a Ford lately?
For Norm Duke and victory, it's $30,000. Dave Husted, 16, Firpo, Devers, and Weber. 221 to 185. Norm Duke winning his second title. And in Cleveland, Jerry Mullane, Bud Light Ohio Sales Division Manager with a trophy. Mike Cottrell, the president of Yorktown Lanes, with a check for $30,000. Norm Duke is your champion from Albuquerque, New Mexico. See you in Toledo next week. Goodbye.
Pro Bowlers Tour has been brought to you by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. By the good tires, good service, and good people at your nearby Goodyear retailer. And by the makers of Tums, the sodium-free antacid that's rich in calcium. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports, recognized around the world